So in a second, you'll see the first episode of this Grow With Me channel. And yeah, my friend Pamela will be coming and we'll be discussing a topic that means a lot to me, which is all about life's purpose and why you're here on earth. So please sit back, relax. It might be long, but I really do hope it's worth it. So yeah, hope you enjoy it.
And Heavenly Father, we're just so thankful to you actually that we have this moment to just come here and do something that is so close to our heart and to do something that glorifies you. That in this moment that you just speak through us, that we wouldn't even have to think, because your Spirit is the one speaking through us and guiding us as we try to connect with these people and encourage them to start thinking about their purpose in life. And because you're the one here doing the work, that we're just empty vessels that you're using to do your work for your glory. And we just want to pray that this message as well will reach out to your people and the audience who perhaps might stumble upon us, I don't know when, but I just want to pray that this message will hit them when they need it, that their hearts, their minds will be eager and willing to take on what you have you've just said through us for them. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. I was like, I don't know where to look.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna read this book by Rick Warren. It's called The Purpose Driven Life. I recommended it to Pamela because the minute I read it, it touched me so much. Like, whenever I'm feeling down or depressed or thinking too much, I open this book and it instantly brings me back to reality. It brings me back to what's bigger than me. So I kind of like just said, oh Pamela, please just take a look at it. And yeah, so what did you think about it?
I myself actually just started reading a few chapters of the book myself, and oh my goodness, like the way the book is written is so personalized. Like you feel like the man who wrote this book has just sat in front of you talking to you about this. Like, it's about your life, it's about just what you're created for. And I feel like there's something for everybody that you need to hear, and it just brings you right back to where you need to be in your life. Like, what's the bigger picture? Like, why are we actually here? Like, is there a God? And well, there is a God, but like,
Yeah.
why has he created us and what's his reason behind it? And I feel it can definitely uplift you if it's something everyone needs to hear, but especially if you have something going on in your life that you feel, why is this happening? It's definitely for you, and I couldn't recommend it anymore.
Yeah, so that's why when I read it, I was like, there's no way I can keep this to myself. And no matter how many times I send it to people, not everyone will read it.
So it took me a while actually. She sent it about a month ago, and then I just picked it up like the other day. I was like, oh my goodness, why have I wasted time? This is so good. I just wanted to keep going, even though it says read a chapter a day.
Yeah, you're meant to actually only read one chapter per day, and each chapter is really short, like maybe 3 pages. But each of them is so like impacts you so much and makes you think and reflect, and that's why they want you to read just one chapter a day.
And I've actually found as well, as you progress on from the chapters, it gets deeper, like every level.
Because you're growing as well.
Oh yes, so because you're not ready yet to hear the harder stuff, like God's given us milk to grow, so this is milk, and then we're progressing to more solid foods. So.
And that's exactly how he's kind of written the book. You grow while you're reading it in Christ, basically. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do a discussion on it and really like try to talk about different topics as part of the whole Grow With Me channel, because every day, I'm not saying I'm perfect or anything, and that's why it's all about growing and learning from an internal truth, not just things I read in like motivational books or inspirational talks or hearing from other people. Like, I want something substantial that will impact me for a longer time. So the topic for today is called It's Not About You. So It's Not About You is all about trying to look outside of yourself, in the sense of what is your life's purpose, why are you here on earth. So that's what we're going to discuss today. Yeah, so Pamela, do you like know what your purpose is on earth?
Oh gosh, that's such a big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I already have an idea of my purpose of how, I mean, I'm not here by accident, and I'm where I need to be, that in my life, wherever I go, that I need to be, like, one of my purposes basically being the light in the darkness, that people need to know that I stand for something, that I stand for God. Like, that's my purpose. I mean, I'm still figuring out where.
Have you always known that this was your purpose? Like when you were like a teenager and stuff?
No.
Why did you think like
do you know, I went through a massive stage in my life about what is actually the purpose of life, like why am I here? And it used to really play on my mind continuously, like when I was trying to get to sleep, like why am I here? I mean, I was brought up going to church, and I heard so much about how God loved me and all these parables and things in the Bible, but the thing is, I didn't see it as it was speaking to me, or it was about me. I thought it was about them and what God had done for them. But when someone drew my eye during one service about how it's about you, like you yourself, you have a purpose, like you're not an accident, that you're actually here because God wanted you to be here, that God has a plan for you. And that blows my mind, and it's actually quite overwhelming to think about it, that
so like even with me, right, I feel like I wasn't a Christian until maybe uni. Like I've always been brought up a Christian, but I didn't say that this is who I want to really get to know and properly like try to live my life as one until I was in uni. And life, like asking, like sometimes I tell myself like, why am I here on earth? Like I didn't ask to be born. Even with school, like no, I was actually doing it because of school. I was like, I didn't ask to be born. Why are you forcing me to go to uni? Why are you forcing me to go to high school? Like, this is not what I want to do. And every time people are in uni as well, they're like, I don't really know what I want to do with my life. And sometimes they say, uni is not for me, this is not for me. Which kind of in a way makes sense, because it's not about that. That's what this chapter is basically talking about. It's saying that life's purpose is far greater than that, because people have tried for generations to figure out the puzzle to life. Like, why am I here on earth? What are my goals? What are my what should I strive for? What do I like to do? But that's very kind of self-centered, you know. And well, focusing on yourself is not a good starting point, because it's a self-centered point of view.
Oh yeah, that's definitely something in this book, in chapter 1, that is explored about how there's actually a lot of help books out there, even Christian ones as well, but they're all about yourself. They're so self-centered about you and about forming your own plans and your own goals, and you know, basically having a plan and then working through it and achieving something from it. And it's discovered that it does work out, because if you do set yourself goals and you do commit yourself to it, that you will be successful. But are we really fulfilled if we succeed in these areas? Yeah,
so like we're trying to find peace of mind, we're trying to find happiness, we're trying to feel fulfilled, we're trying to find our identity, we're trying to know who we are. But all these books would tell you things like, oh, think of your dreams, clarify your goals, set yourself targets, know what you're good at, aim high, be disciplined, involve others, stuff like that. And we're not saying any of those are wrong. Like, they would definitely help you be successful. But the difference is, you can be successful, but are you fulfilled? Are you achieving your purpose? They're completely different things. And yeah, even Christian books will tell you those predictable steps, but no one really talks about the bigger picture. So yeah. That's what this book is about. So they're basically saying that self-help is actually not help.
Yeah.
What actually helps you is self-sacrifice. And this is something no one wants to ever think of, because why would you want to sacrifice something that means a lot to you?
Oh, it's a huge one.
Yeah, it's big. Because the reason why we're even trying to figure out what our purpose is because, like we said, when we're here on earth, but if, for example, I gave Pamela an invention, like the book said, it said, for example, I gave you something that you've never seen before, and I didn't tell you what it's for, would you know how to use it?
No.
Yeah. So the only time she'll actually know how to use what I gave her is if I gave her instructions, or because I created it, I can give her a manual. So why are we trying to figure out our purpose if we didn't create ourselves?
By ourselves. Like, we just cannot, because we need to get why we're here from the Creator.
Yeah.
So the first step to finding our purpose and knowing our purpose is basically going to the one who created us, because he has a plan for us and he's the only one who can tell us what we're really here for.
Yeah. And even with Christians, because I know not everyone is a Christian, but even with Christians, they look to God and they see him as this guy that's out there protecting him, and they call on him when they need help. But the thing is, they fail to realize that you were made for God. God was not made for you. So you cannot ask him to like help you achieve your purpose. You may have your own dreams, your own goals. You may choose your husband, you can choose your career, but you cannot choose your purpose, because before you were even made, God kind of like, he created he already knew what you were going to be for, and he didn't ask for your input in that. He already knew that. He just made you.
You don't have a say.
You don't have a say in that. You get to choose anything you want, but not what you're created for. So the only way to actually know what you're here for is to actually ask your Creator. Just simply ask God, like, why am I here? What do you want me here for? What should I achieve? What should I do? How can I achieve your purpose on earth? So yeah.
And like they say, God's way is the best way.
Yeah. And you may think like it's not like God is trying to control you, because he gave us the freedom to choose whatever we want to choose. We can choose our own way, or we can choose his way. At the end of the day, we'll come to, if you're like trying to be close to God and you try to develop a relationship with God, you want the best for yourself. And think about it, the person that created you wants you to be the best. Like, if I made a product, I want it to be the best, better than any other one. You know, I want it to achieve its purpose. I want it to fulfill everything that I created and designed it for. So think of it that way. Like, why would God make me and not want me to be successful? Why would God make me and not want me to be happy? Why would God make me and not want me to find the right guy? Why is God pushing me through all these pain and all these things I'm going through? He wants the best for you. But obviously we have freedom, so we can choose different paths. But at the end of the day, we just kind of like ask God, what do you want? Which direction should I go? Our paths will align and we'll be going the right direction. Anyway, so yeah.
That's a good point.
So when you're trying to find the meaning of life, this book touched on two things. It said you could either speculate or you could have a revelation. So do you want to like discuss the speculation part with philosophers? And because you said something really interesting. So basically what she said was with speculation, it's like us when we're trying to figure out what is my goal, why am I here, what's my purpose. It's like all these philosophers, those who have done a degree and all of that,
like they just look around, okay, we'll do some tests, we'll do some things, and we'll gather all these facts together, and then we'll start to think, okay, perhaps this could have been what happened, or this is where this is heading, but they don't actually know for sure.
Yeah.
And so it's just a theory, and it's not a proven fact. And if
that word theory, it's I like that word.
People need to remember that. Like they say words like the Big Bang theory. It's not proven yet. And the thing is, if you can have as much faith to believe in theories caused by calculated guesses by scientists and all these kind of people, then I think it takes just as much faith to believe in Christ, because I mean, there's a lot of proof in this world that he's real, that he's existed. Like, look how amazing. Like, do you ever just stop and look at a beautiful scenery and just think, oh my goodness? Or the way how here we are on Earth, like how planet Earth is just so perfect to sustain things like life.
Well, that's what scientists do. They find evidence based on what is seen, right? And that's why people are so quick to have faith to believe that theory. So why can't people have faith to believe what they can see? I mean, they can see all these things, but they can use science to say, oh, that's why it's there. But the problem with that is, like, they don't really know the starting point. They don't know the source. They just say it's a big bang. Like, what created that big bang?
What we can see and what we can find on our own is so limited. Like, this world is so much bigger than what we can ever comprehend. And until we opened our minds to the things that we cannot see, like, it's going to be quite difficult for us to get out of it, to actually become more, to actually grow, and to get closer to actually finding what our purpose in life is.
Because it's funny, even people that aren't Christians, they kind of believe in things that they can't see, but in a different way. They believe in things like spirits, like being able to talk to the dead. They believe in horoscopes, reading palms, all these. But they don't believe in like Jesus most of the time. They don't believe in angels, like other spirits. Like sometimes when you're in a room, do you ever feel like you can feel the presence of things other than what is there, what you can see? Like sometimes I can feel like spirits around, but it's like this world is bigger than what we think it is. And that's why even when it comes to purpose, even though we're trying to find our own purpose, our purpose also leads to a bigger cosmic purpose, and that's basically what God wants. He has a purpose designed for eternity, and our purpose just fits into that. There's one side which is about speculation, and the other side is about revelation. So revelation is all about basically saying, God, well, you made me, and you can tell me what I'm here for, because God has actually not left us in the dark to wonder. He has actually given us ways to find out what our purpose is. We just kind of choose not to look.
It's like, you have to ask and actually listen.
Yeah.
The listening part is actually a massive, it's even something that I struggle with, just taking the time out to actually listen to what God has to say. Because he's always answering, but this is what he said. He's like, my sheep hear my voice. You know, they know me and they hear my voice. So if we do not know God, we can't really hear his voice. Are we God's sheep? Do we hear his voice? Do we know him? And as we grow to know him as well, we can get to that stage where we can be able to know when he's talking to us and not just think, oh, he's not talking to us, that we're by ourselves.
Yeah, and it's hard to know how your way of hearing God is, because everyone has their own different way of listening. Like some people might feel it in their hearts, like the Holy Spirit might touch them. Some might get in a vision. But all of this starts with the starting point of you just have to first say like you actually want that relationship with God, and he will give it to you, because God is not the starting point of life. He's basically the source, and you can't use inspirational books, you can't use self-motivating stuff to decide what your purpose is. You need something that is actually true, like, because
these are all about self. Like for example, books about finding yourself, it's all about how your purpose is within you. But the thing is, if the purpose doesn't come from you, how can you search for what's within you when it's not actually there? Which is a point that we actually tend to miss out a lot. So
yeah. So the book talked about 3 things that was really important. So it says basically the way you can find your purpose is all written down in the Bible. The Bible is basically the owner's manual, like the invention stuff. God created the Bible. He created it for you to know what your purpose is. So there are things you can find from this. You can find out why you're alive. You can find out how life works. You can find out what to avoid and what you can expect in future. So if you're really looking for answers to these questions, please do try to read the Bible. People say that, yeah, I'm a Christian, but I don't need to read the Bible, I can just talk to God. But God has already spoken to you in that Bible. That's his own, one of his ways of communicating with you. Like, read the Bible and also ask him, like, what do you mean by this? Because the only way to really know something for certain is by asking him, and he would give you the answer. Because there's so many false prophets out there that can misinterpret what is there, but God has a way of convicting your heart and letting you know what he actually means by it.
If you know the word, a false prophet can't come to you, because you know what God has said. You know how we're supposed to interact with people and how we're supposed to teach them and how things are supposed to be. And so if you have the truth in your heart, you can't be tricked by someone, because God will tell you. You have this feeling within you actually that will be like, something's not right here.
Yeah. So God, basically, you can discover your identity by having that relationship with him. And it's because God really did think about you long before you thought of him. So he's known, even if you don't come to him now, he's still watching you. He's still like hoping that you would want to discover yourself, find that identity that you're searching so hard for. Because he's just, it's like, I don't know, it's beautiful to know that someone's out there, someone that made me is out there, and he's there for me. He's watching my life. He's making sure that he's giving me a provision to have hope, basically. It's like the person I can run to when things are not going well in the world, or when I feel lost. Because every time I feel lost, I know it's because I have a little bit of a distance in terms of my relationship with God. So yeah.